And good afternoon or morning, depending on where you are. And if you're overseas, a little bit more easterly, if you will, good afternoon and or evening. I'm Chris Cordani. This is the S-Files Live. Tony Shaffer is not at the helm. He might pop in just a little bit, but when I'm here, I like to have my good friend Jenny Kiefover here to work with me on this. Jenny, welcome.
Hello, Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. Wait a minute. Are we going to go to jail for that?
I don't know, Chris. I think that those days are over for right now, at least. I think we're safe for now.
Well, they're trying. If you're McDonald's, did you see that McDonald's commercial? Like this AI video commercial they're playing, where they're talking about they sing how it's the most horrible time of the year. They were joking. I know it's the
Mm,
parody. A lot of
mm,
people hated it. A lot of people
mm.
really hated it.
Yeah, that's. I can only imagine. Well, I'm just glad that we're in an era where we can celebrate Christmas and not be ashamed of it and say Merry Christmas without feeling like we're going to get arrested, thrown in jail, handcuffs on, and things of that nature. So, but really, people hated that, huh?
Yeah, I would say a couple things on that one. I don't know if I should play that. I'll have to dig that up if I do. By the way, hi Mary Lou and hi Judy. And join us with the live chat. We have a lot going on here. Love to answer your questions. Join the conversation. We're going to have a lot of fun. We also have a very special guest a little bit later on too. That's going to be uh, D, Dennis Cancillo. Gabriel Locke, Bound by Law is his book, and we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk a bit about immigration. We're going to talk about the color revolution going on, and yes, hello, cousin Vinny. So we're going to hear a lot more from people here. Yeah, it was panned by people. I couldn't believe how badly it was reacted to. Maybe not because of the whole ruining Christmas thing or the paradising the horrors of Christmas shopping and the hustle and bustle. More or less that it was all artificial intelligence generated, or at least the vast majority of it. And the idea was, well, they didn't want to pay any actors. Everything was way over the top, but obviously AI, and that's where I believe a lot of people were a little bit more upset than just the parody.
Well, AI is a double-edged sword. I mean, every time a new technology is introduced, I mean, there's always going to be pros and cons, right? I don't, some have predicted that AI will mean the end of Hollywood. No,
No,
I
no.
guess I don't think so necessarily. I mean, what I've always said is that we need to just sort of adapt, and I don't think there's any replacement for human relationships, which at the end of the day is what, storytelling and so forth is all about. So you're still going to need people to write stories, you're still going to need people behind the cameras, you're still going to need people to do the work involved. So I don't know. I think it's kind of work in progress is my personal opinion, but I think AI is great. I use it for work all the time. So I
It's a
think
help, yes.
it's a huge help in many ways. I mean, it's not a crutch, but I find it entirely useful in what I do. So, I mean, I see a lot of positive sides, but I think like anything else, we're maybe in the wild wild west. We're at the beginning. I mean, people said the same thing about the information highway when that first got rolled out back in the '90s. So,
That's
I
right. And
think.
people also said that about Wild Wild West, the big hit by Escape Club in the late 80s. I actually like that song because I like a good trumpet, I like a good horn section. But I'm going to trade you artificial intelligence. And by the way, yes, we're going to talk about that Portland thing. Let's get some real intelligence here. Tony Schaefer is behind the wheel and
Hey,
here with us. Tony, welcome to your show.
yes, it's my show. I wish people would tell me about this sort of thing. Hey, good afternoon. Good
Good
afternoon,
afternoon.
everybody. Yeah,
Good
I'm
afternoon.
doing things in Washington. Chris knows where I was just at. We'll post on that in a bit, right, Chris? We'll make that a surprise.
Yes, it's under the hat
So
for now, but you got to keep an eye on the S Files channel and Tony's social
yeah,
media, the X page. By the way, if you're enjoying our show out there, please spread the word, share the stream, like us, subscribe to us, and encourage your friends to do so because it would really help us out and we would really appreciate it. We're appreciative people, aren't we?
we are. So and it's good here. And don't let me interfere with your guys' conversation. By the way, I did like that song "Wild Wild West." I think it was kind of
Yes.
cool.
Yeah, I got booed doing karaoke to that song, so
I got
I
Boo
did it pretty well.
doing "Highway Love Song" from what was that group? My God, I'm getting old.
Oh, I
You
don't
know,
know.
it's the Highway Love Song. Oh, the oh my God,
I know Loving the Highway.
It's a rock group. It's a rock group. Here, let me get some more light.
You even got me. Now I have to look this up. Highway Love Song. It's not
Highway
Space
Love
Age
Song.
Love Song, right?
No,
Age
Highway Love Song.
Yeah.
Highway. Let me look it up. Highway Love Song.
Okay. Well, Space Age Love Song is by what was that? Oh yeah, by the great Flock of Seagulls. A lot of people think they only had the one song, but they had a lot of great stuff. By the way, since we have you here,
Oh no, wrong. Interstate Love Song. The Stone Temple Pilots. There
now
you go.
we have it. See,
Yeah.
that's where you keep. I'm thinking Tony stumped me.
Yeah, no, I don't. All right, go ahead, Chris. Sorry.
All right, here you go. Big news today. We have a new Senate candidate, a self-proclaimed Senate candidate, and she's straight from the streets. Well,
She's straight.
I suppose the streets of the of Lady Fingers and Chardonnay. The posh Jasmine Crockett is now running for Senate in Texas because her seat's going to disappear. Her congressional seat's going to disappear. She is running for Congress in Texas. And she decided to go into the lion's den. So credit her with going on CNN to talk to Scott Jennings. Let's see. Let's check this out, though.
Ask you about a quote that you've made that has some Democrats worried about your ability to win statewide. In a December 2024 Vanity Fair profile, you talked about, quote, and I'm going to read a lot of the quote just to put it into context, quote, all the complexities within the Latino community. The immigration thing has always been something that has perplexed me about this community. It's basically like, I fought to get here, but I left y'all where I left y'all, and I want no more y'all to come here. If I wanted to be with y'all, I would stay with y'all, but I don't want y'all coming to my new home.
I have to say, I like the way he's reading her quote. So y'all want to come over here and listen, y'all, to what y'all doing things here. Yes, I like that, y'all. What do y'all think so far? Love the read.
It almost reminds me of what people would talk about when they would talk about kind of like slave mentality and the hate that some slaves would have for themselves. It's almost like a slave mentality that they have. Now, about the time that was published last year, around 1 million Latino voters in Texas were voting for Trump. Do they all have slave mentality?
No, and that's not what that said at all, to be clear. It did not say that every Latino has that type of mentality.
No, but the ones that vote for people who believe in strong or Trump's immigration policies.
So I don't believe that the people that voted for Trump believe in what they're actually getting.
Well, hold on a second. We did get exactly what we voted for. What do you think? Better immigration? At least a crack at fixing what the Biden administration or the Ono administration destroyed. So what do you think? What do you think here?
Well, I don't know. I mean, first off, she is going to say and do anything she can to be provocative because that's all she's got at this time. She's got no policy. As a matter of fact, I was on the Right Squad last night. We talked about this. One of my colleagues, who's a Democrat, said, well, I'm looking forward to seeing her paper on how to solve the wealth gap. It's like, she doesn't know how to solve the gap in her teeth. What are you talking about?
What do you think she is, Michael Strahan?
Yeah. I mean, come on. You're not going to get anything out of her. So it's just kind of like, okay, this is nonsense. So over to you guys. I think it's nonsense. So.
Well, I do. I think it's nonsense. Jenny, I'll get your opinion on this too, because I wanted to throw this in. While it may be nonsense, didn't we think Robert Francis O'Rourke, better known as Beto, his 6-year-old nickname, was not a serious contender against Cruz? There is going to be a lot of Hollywood money and Soros money poured into her campaign just to raise her stature.
That's true.
Even if she's going to lose. Which means she's going to be a loudmouth on the political scene for a long time. Jenny?
Well, you can see how polarized messaging becomes the story itself, and she is definitely famous for that, among others, of course. Once the rhetoric escalates, institutions tend to absorb that tension, which is why these conversations feel so heated right now. And good for Scott Jennings. He's never afraid to take on any kind of hardball, issues and ask the hard questions that we need to ask. So I give him a lot of kudos for doing that, and kudos to her for going in, as you put it, the lion's den, even though he's in the minority, as we know.
Well, here's another one. The news media, as we know, has been a little bit disingenuous over the years. Some people think only the last 10, 20 years. Let's go to a rather historic newspaper, the New York Times. Trump is going off on the Times saying it's treasonous. And there's the big slowing, well, the slowing down smear we talked about. You'll see this on Newsmax's page, by the way. See, Newsmax
Yep.
always gets a shout out here on the S Files.
Mhm.
I have a question for you. Doesn't anybody realize that this is what to expect out of the New York Times? And I'm talking about dating back to at least the 1930s with Walter Duranty and the shilling for Joseph Stalin.
So, part of the problem with the New York Times is that they essentially are the largest single corporation that tries to cover for anything the Democrats do bad. Everything from supporting the Democrats and not allowing for or supporting accountability regarding the $360 billion we sent to Ukraine, to the fact that fentanyl and drugs like that have been infecting our communities across the board, and they don't want to talk about that. And of course, the stuff with Biden opening the borders, like they are literally the organization that's most, and their allies and CNN and all the other places. But that's their job. Their job is to do damage control, not report the news. I just wish people would understand that. And maybe I think that's what Trump's saying. It's like they're the enemy because they pretend to be a newspaper and they're not. That's my view.
This man, Walter Duranty, Jenny, is the symbol of what the New York Times always was. He's pure evil. He was the PR guy for Joseph Stalin at the legitimate newspaper, or at least thought to be journalistic standard New York Times, and the Times still won't even denounce his Pulitzer Prize.
Unbelievable. Well, the thing about the New York Times is that we know that they're known for shoddy journalism. And in fact, a friend of mine if you remember back in 2018 when Brett Kavanaugh was going through his confirmation, a very good friend of mine was doing a fundraiser for him simply to, say this is for whatever he feels is used best. And he ended up, I think, donating it or whatnot. Mr. Kavanaugh did. And this reporter claimed that they talked to my friend and so forth. They never reached out to him. I mean, they're willing to, of course, lie and have it right there in black and white. So how can that be credible? I mean, we need credible journalism, and there's very few people in this town that can do that well. And there's certainly not one of them.
Well, shout out to credible journalists. Because I know her and she's in this town. I'm in Alexandria right now, by the way, for the record, across from the Potomac's right behind me. Catherine Herridge. Catherine is now working her own podcast, doing her own thing with the, believe it or not, the LA Times, which they are making an attempt, I'm told, by reliable sources, that they're trying to make an attempt to actually come around and start doing what we call journalism. We'll see. But I think I don't think Catherine would have signed up to do that if she didn't feel she was going to get a fair shake and being able to do good journalism. So shout out to Kath on what she's doing. But for the most part, I do like it. And I've seen it happen where the Washington Post, the Washington Post will actually sharpshoot the New York Times, which they did recently on the whole boat thing, which is good because
I love it.
So the liberals really, there's no love, even though they all kind of think the same. They hate each other internally, and I've seen this firsthand. Back when I did Able Danger, the disclosures, some of you remember. I'm going somewhere with this. So the story of the pre-9/11 intelligence failures, Able Danger, was reported by Scott Shane at the New York Times and Catherine Herridge at Fox News. It's the first and last time they worked together. My point is, opposite of what happened with the boat story, the Washington Post tried to submarine and destroy the story because they were trying to say, well, this is all nonsense. So it's interesting that it's kind of like if there's an opportunity to go one way or another, to actually damage the other paper, they will do it, and I've seen it. So that was one of the interesting things that did happen. And so, but the whole boat thing, for better or for worse, it was always a fake. Admiral Bradley testified correctly as far, and I've been talking to folks here. That's part of what I'm doing up here. The people I've spoken to verified that Bradley is a patriot. He doesn't play these political games, and what he said was absolutely correct. That he was told to shoot. He shot, he made the decision to shoot again that had nothing to do with Pete Hegseth to the Pentagon. This whole double tap thing was a fake from the beginning. But it doesn't. It goes to the point of our conversation that the New York Times made stuff up, completely lied, put it out there. Politico was an ally in this, Politico being one of the publications of the deep state, and then NBC and others amplified it. So it's a deep state media deception industrial complex as far as I'm concerned. So
I'm with you on that one. In fact, did you hear a lot of these liberals are kind of trying to backpedal on each other? The biggest backpedal, though, of the week was Ms. Slotkin, by the way, of the seditious.
Slotkin.
Yeah, she's going on the air now. She's actually trying to say, well, I didn't really mean what I said about illegal orders because they're not illegal, but I wasn't sure about that and blah, blah, blah. Let's hear it from her anyway, as far as her illegal orders and trying to just step back from possibly being brought up for sedition.
I mean, we made that video, 3 weeks ago or whatever it was, certainly not thinking that the president would go high and right, as we say at the Pentagon, on it like that. But because there was so many people coming to us who were, on active duty, who were recent veterans.
So many people coming to her, right? Okay. So tell me about the dirty dozen.
Family members of service members who were coming to us individually. And I'm saying two things.
This is all fiction. I'm
concerned, I'm going to be sent in uniform to an American city, like LA, Chicago, Memphis. And I'm going to be asked to do things I either don't think are legal or I'm not trained for. And that's, what do I do? And then this fall, it really turned and it became a lot of people who were involved in the operations around the Caribbean asking those same things. Hey, I'm not sure I don't know if this is legal.
I really can't believe this. I mean, maybe 2 or 3.
It's science fiction. None of this happened. So what she's referring to, and I think what did happen, is there's certain senior members of the Democrat Party who do have contact with certain political leaders within the Department of War. They do talk. Some of these are flag officers. This isn't this conversation between people coming forward never happened. People in uniform or at the lower level don't do that. They especially those who actually serve, take the oath and take it seriously. I literally just had this conversation with someone who worked through multiple administrations, served both sides because we were in the uniform. When we're in a uniform, you do what you're told to do within the context of legal operations. Nobody questions the need to go into cities at points in time to help secure the city. So that never happened. People don't worry about killing pirates. I'm sorry, Senator Slotkin. People have never worried about killing pirates in the Caribbean. Hey, isn't there a movie about that? Pirates of the Caribbean? I think I've seen that movie. Anyway, there's as much validity to the movie Pirates of the Caribbean as what she's saying. It's all fiction because people recognize, and the legality is very clear. If you're on a boat that's running with no lights, no safety gear, you're not running the flag of any country, you're a freaking pirate. And by the way, we can kill pirates. There's nothing prohibiting it, and even our own internal rules do not preclude us killing pirates. No pirates that I know of. If either of you know, maybe I'm wrong, but if you know of any pirates who actually went to Geneva and signed up for the Geneva Convention, let me know. Otherwise, they're not covered by the Geneva Convention. They're not. Just saying. So what she's saying is complete fiction. It's nonsense.
It's pretty rough, Jenny.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with you. What they did was just egregious, and they need to be held accountable. End of story.
And to your point, Tony, about the left fighting with each other, we're in an era where it's rather interesting. The left is fighting a color revolution against us, but they're also warring within its own, let's just say, very narrow mindset worldview. The Borg is trying to form a different way and farther to the left. And at this point, you're seeing Democrat stalwarts and new far leftists pushing forth new candidates to primary leftists that aren't leftist enough. I mean, how can they find anybody farther to the left in his own district than Dan Goldman? But Mamdani says Brad Lender's the guy. And yeah, I've heard from him. He is farther to the left than that crazy lefty, Dan Goldman. It's not just that, Tony and Jenny. It's Los Angeles. Karen Bass apparently isn't lefty enough. You saw what happened in Seattle, and Omar Fateh could have beaten and was very close or close enough to beat the coffin, was it the George Floyd coffin kisser mayor?
So can you say that on the air? Copper kisser?
Coffin kisser. What I would have given
is that
him was
legal? I guess it is.
I would have given him some Ludens. It stops all coffins. All right.
No, I mean, but so your point is, and I don't know if it's going to be made clear enough. The left has a problem with its own constituency. Remember, they want to have radical Islam as a constituent, which means that they behead people. One of the things we covered last night on the Right Squad is that they're going to have an LGBTQ soccer competition in the spring. And the teams that were picked to participate in it are Egypt and Iran. It's like, okay, those are really good LGBTQ positive teams to be highlighting in Seattle. Just saying. But that's how stupid these people are. Oh yeah, no, it's fine. It's like, no, dude. If the Iranian team shows up at a gay and lesbian event, they're going to be beheaded when they get back to Tehran. Just saying, because they don't play that game. So, but the left wants radical Islam as a constituent. Then you've got the communists. Well, you're not really a Marxist. You're a communist, but you're not really far enough left. You're still not fully understanding. We want to lock people up who disagree with us. So you're open to putting him in a camp. No. We want to kill him. So it's that level of stupidity. And then you've got people who pretend that none of this is happening. People like Goodlander, Maggie Goodlander. It's like, oh, I'm just a little national security. I'm a little Navy reservist who just happened to marry Beaker, Jake Sullivan. It's true. I like the fact that he only has 3 fingers on his hands, and has big poofy red hair. But and you got those people who want to be middle of the road. They're not. They're apparatchiks who were trying to infiltrate the system to destroy it, to destroy free speech and all. So I'm sorry. I'm done with my rant. But it's insane who they're trying to bring together to make into a constituency. So.
It's the coalition of the spilling, if you will. Anyway, it's
they're all Muppet characters, by the way. They really are.
It's only going to they're going to shoot themselves in the foot. Speaking of shooting in the foot, you also have Volodymyr Zelenskyy, and Mike Nova will be coming back with us, by the way, Tony. So I was actually texting with him.
Right good.
Show. I wanted to get him on today because I did want to talk about this. Mike was the guy we had on when we did Wake Up Patriots several times.
Mike's great. Yeah.
Yep. He was Jenny. He was part of the what was that? He was part of the entertainment scene in Ukraine, so he knows all about Zelenskyy and his ego and co-cabot and everything else, and where the $100 billion might have gone to, and the whole corruption thing. So we can talk about that with him later. The fact is, though, Zelenskyy and the EU decided to try once again to undermine the Orange Man by pushing out this peace plan that will never be accepted by Vladimir Putin. There's no way Putin's going to allow Ukraine to join the EU. Sorry, not the EU, the NATO, excuse me, NATO. They can join the EU, but not NATO. The other thing is they're not going to give up territory. The fact is Ukraine's going to have to take the L on this one. I mean, I'm not a big fan of any kind of war or what happened, but I will have to say at this point, too many lives are lost. It's only going to get worse. Western Europe wants to fight against Russia using the people of Ukraine as, pawns or arrow fodder, if you will. And at this point, we just have to find a way to say, all right, Ukraine, you got to take the L, save your people, not your ego. Putin, step back after this. But the EU is not allowing that.
No, I'll let you guys start on that, and I'll comment on the EU in a second. I'm actually having to do a note to someone.
Tony's winding up, Jenny. What do you think?
Yeah.
Well, that's very typical, is it not? I don't know. I personally don't know that we can trust Putin 100%, and I really hope that Trump ends up doing the right thing with respect to all that. But I'd be curious to kind of hear more about the background of the Zelenskyy character, who I remember in the Biden days was. And you notice that he always comes to the White House looking for a handout. It's kind of like, what are you going to do for us? No, it should be a two-way street. It's not just about getting a handout here. I mean, if he's looking for one from us, he's barking up the wrong tree with this administration. So I guess
Well,
we'll just have to wait and see. What's your thoughts?
well, here's the other thing, Jenny. Before we get right to Tony, the bad guys, or who, let's say, there are no real good guys in this when it comes to the leadership of both countries. But the fact is, there have been several wars throughout world history. The so-called or perceived good guys do not always win. They may have been on a streak during the world wars, but they don't always win.
Hmm.
Sometimes the communists win, just like
Mhm.
Vietnam. And
Hmm.
unfortunately, the losers have to find a way to save what they have, save the people that are caught in the middle, and just get out of it.
Well, part of, I think, the thing that people are most upset about regarding the Europeans and Zelensky, and I'll be blunt, is the money. This, to me, there's a special out right now that's on PBS. I don't normally credit PBS with doing much of anything, but in this case, they did a show that's it's on Frontline, and it's called 2000 meters to Avdiivka. I don't know if I sent you that link, Chris, but it shows how in the offensive in 2023, this is loony. There's a 2,000-meter track of trees. Everything outside of the trees is flat. It's just like open field. So this is a story of Ukrainian military moving over a month. 2,000 meters in this strip. The strip is no wider than the road I'm on right now. Literally, it's like that wide, and yet they're fighting bunker to bunker. It's like something you would see in a video game, because they never maneuver. I'm an Army guy, so you're taught to maneuver, to be aggressive, and use mass and overwhelming to mass and overwhelmingly use firepower to achieve military objectives. None of that. These guys literally fight on the ground, going little foxhole to foxhole over a month. It's like, have you ever thought about maybe getting in a tank, going around to the other end, and just bypassing this to go to the village? No. So my point here is that they've allowed this World War I style warfare that requires people to fight on the ground using, they had drones, and drones were able to spot things, but even with drones, it was like arduous. It took forever. And so my point, they don't want the war to be done. You don't put people in situations where they have to fight in a strip of ground that's as wide as a road and 2,000 meters and think you're going to achieve victory. You don't. And so this is, to me, all about the money. During the time that we've done this, we've given the Europeans, because that money is not just spent in Ukraine, it's spent in the EU and with U.S. corporations. Remember that, Chris? Lindsey
Yeah.
Graham. Oh, a lot of this money comes back to us. Yeah, it
Mhm.
does.
Yeah, but
So we're funding the bloodshed. That's
Right.
great. So that's why they don't want to stop it. They are all making money. Zelensky and the EU. And that, by the way, the EU is like, it was like President Trump said, "Oh, EU, you want to do this? You go do it." Oh yes, we want to defend Ukraine, but next week we don't really want to do it now. Okay, whatever. It's insane.
And Jenny, what do you think of this? One of the provisions of this, this is great. One of the provisions of this new EU plan for the ceasefire is no cap on Ukrainian military. I'll give you three. No cap on Ukrainian military. No territorial concessions.
Not going to happen.
And reconstruction to be paid by Russia. This was
Nope.
purposely set up.
Yeah.
Of course
So
it
there's an
was.
excuse not to stop the war.
Of course. But of course, it doesn't seem very realistic from what, you're telling me.
The Russians are winning. They're not going to. It's like, of course, they're not going to pay us. We're not going to pay for anything. And Jenny, that's the point. It's like when this is all Europeans doing. By the way, this came out of a conference. Chris, I think we talked about this. Zelensky met with NATO with Mark Rutte. See, Rutte in Dutch means a guy who has large thumbs that smell like something bad. Just saying. That's the Dutch. I don't want to get into it because I get censored. But anyway, so it's
You
big
get us in trouble.
Mr. Big Thumbs who've been in the wrong places. Let's just call it that. Thumbs in the wrong places. Ruta. He rooted his thumbs out of a place and stuck them somewhere. And that's why you see this nonsense, because this is nonsense. The Russians are winning. And even, and this is what Trump keeps telling them, you keep screwing around, the Russians are just going to take everything. And he's right. He's trying to tell them that politely. It's like, we're not going to be the ones holding the bag. EU, if you want to do this, you go do it. And the EU keeps saying, "Oh yeah, we want to." So Zelenskyy, you hang in there. This is not going to fly. This is not going to fly.
Absolutely. It's just not going. This is still an excuse to keep that war going, and that's not a good thing.
Yep.
We already know about that. Let's go into another issue here. We have. Let's say. Oh wait. I want to go back to a little bit here. You're talking about the way this war is being fought over like a little strip right now. Well, apparently, it reminds me of the little strategy session done on the Blackadder. Remember Blackadder Goes Forth?
Oh yeah.
There was that little strategy session video. I'm going to pull that up right here. It just reminds me of how
I post this periodically. It's a great video.
Yeah, this is good. Let's go to it.
Of course I am. Now let's talk about something more jolly, shall we? Look, this is the amount of land we've recaptured since yesterday.
Oh, excellent.
What is the actual scale of this map, darling?
1 to 1, sir.
1 to 1. That's everything.
Life size, sir. It's superbly detailed. Look, there's a little worm.
So the actual amount of land retaken is?
Excuse me, sir. 17 square feet, sir.
Excellent. So you see, young Blackadder didn't die horribly in vain after all.
And there we go.
Exactly. And that's what you'll see. I don't know if we can get this. So you'll see that this scene played out over this video right here. This
I'm gonna pull that up for you. Let's do that one more time.
Hold on, let me see if I can get that again. Hold on. Yeah, there it is. 2,000 meters here. 2,000.
Oh,
you guys seeing that? Yeah, 2,000 meters to Abgeka. And so you see what Chris just showed, done 2,000 times, right? 2,000, about a meter a day. So that's the point. They're not trying to win. This is never about winning. And so right now, because we're saying we're done paying for the stupidity, that's what President Trump basically says, like, we're done. We're not paying for the Bugattis and cons. Isn't that what Trump Jr. said? It's like, oh yeah, I went to this event and all these Ukrainians with Bugattis and hot blondes. Yeah, that's where all the money went. So we're not paying for that. EU, if you want to do it, you go do it. We're done. And the EU doesn't have an army. The EU could not take on by itself the Mississippi National Guard. The Mississippi National Guard could go take over Europe. If the Mississippi wanted to annex Europe right now, now's the time to do it, because there's no fighting forces in Europe right now. Just saying. So now's your Mississippi. If you're listening, go invade France. You can have all the French wine you want for the rest of your lives. Just saying. So.
Yeah, is there a chance that these armies and the military forces in the EU, due to the fact that it's just as much of a or a lot of these nations treat their armies as just as much of a social petri dish as Barack Obama tried to do to ours, you think they're not really prepared for any of this stuff?
They're not. They just did an exercise in Finland where the biggest accomplishment was being able to figure out how to move MREs, meals ready to eat, 80 miles. That was their biggest. Food. We've been able to move food. Ooh. That's their biggest accomplishment. It's like, okay, well, that's gonna. I'm sure the Russians are very impressed with moving food. Just, yeah, that's a deterrent.
Well, they're so tough. There we go.
They're so tough. Well, the Finns are pretty tough, right? There's a saying, I think the Norwegians have a saying about the Finns. You can't tell a Finn much. And that's the saying. You can't tell a Finn much, so it's true.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. I'm not Finnish, so and I'm not a Norwegian. Ufta, ufta fida for those and for those in northern Minnesota. Ufta fida. Yeah.
All right, here's another one. The Biden administration. How corrupt was the Biden administration? Department of Justice. The only thing Merrick Garland ever showed us when he was in office was how much of a bullet we dodged. When I guess the only thing that McConnell did right as the Senate Majority Leader was to keep this guy from becoming a Supreme Court justice. Although we kind of got stuck later on with Ketanji Jackson Brown. We'll deal with her later on. But the Biden administration sat on the evidence about the January 6th pipe bomb suspect. A lot of things could have been cleared up, could have saved a lot of people jail time, could have saved a lot of taxpayer money and a lot of problems if they just allowed the truth to come out. But they hid it. They purposely hid it and made a freak show out of their kangaroo court. But apparently they did. I guess they just didn't want to see Urkel arrested after laying that pipe bomb, right? The guy does Urkel.
They didn't want to ruin the reruns. That's for sure. So, well, let me touch upon this since I know that area very well. That part of Capitol Hill is super duper heavily surveilled. I mean, out of there's probably about 10 sites on the planet Earth, which every moment of every day is somehow captured on a video electronically. I can't go into all the things I know which go on to monitor, but I'm telling you that nothing happens within that sphere of Congress to Capitol Hill to the White House. Within that federal area, everything is recorded, everything. And so the idea that somehow, we can't figure this out was never believable. No, it was never believable, especially for those of us who have walked those grounds and know what goes on behind the scenes. Like, this is not possible. So to your point, Chris, they meant this to be a dangling participle that remained as an unresolved issue to justify the 6th January nonsense. Well, maybe they didn't cause it. I don't know if they did or not. They most certainly recognized the value of adding that event to the overall activities of 6th January. By the way, had one of those bombs gone off, 6th January would have never happened. The place would have been locked down. It wouldn't have happened because they would have shut down that event. That would have never happened. Just saying. So.
Absolutely. And by the way, he was in court recently, and he was quoted as saying, "Did I do that?" And I was thinking, wait a minute, you think he looks like Urkel? I was thinking, what was Claudine Gay doing over there at the J6 protest? But that's another story for another day.
Yeah.
I guess he looks like a lot of people, doesn't he? I mean, Urkel and Claudine Gay at the same time. But this guy, the fact is they hid this because they wanted to make a huge spectacle and use people as an example.
Yep.
Right. So that makes things worse. And Tina Peters, again, blowing the whistle in Colorado. She's not allowed to leave jail for her appeal. And then this is another thing. They don't like when somebody speaks the truth or somebody blows the whistle and it's not a Democrat. This person is not protected. They come down on them. But when Eric the Charming Fella or somebody like that hears something that somebody else heard and tries to tell Adam Schiff, all of a sudden this guy gets second, third hand whistleblower protections.
Well, speaking as a whistleblower, this issue came up recently. Again, I can't get into all the details, but there are people who I basically had conversations with regarding the last election, 2020 election, who were legitimate, like in need of whistleblower protection. And they were refused whistleblower protection because what they were blowing the whistle on would have proven President Trump was correct. And this denial was from people in Trump's own administration, just saying. So it's not new. I think what's new now as we go through this is to start figuring out who has been pretending to be on the Trump side who actually are the bad guys. There's still some in those ranks, just saying. So I think we need to be very cognizant of the fact that we're a year in, right? We're coming up on a year, and we still don't have any major indictments or people in jail, right? Chris, am I missing something? Has anybody gone to jail? I don't think anybody's gone to jail. So
not at all. I don't think it's going to happen, but we'll deal with that at another time too.
Yeah.
So, and there's another thing here. Jenny, I want to get your thoughts on this one because I used to love watching, I guess, some of the late night shows. I used to like Johnny Carson. Jay Leno was pretty cool. When I actually was one of those people who liked the Chevy Chase show.
I never saw
Oh my
Chevy Chase, but I
gosh.
like Chevy Chase.
It wasn't funny. It was actually pretty good stuff. But apparently, Rachel Maddow is upset and trying to make a big call to bring Stephen Colbert back. But the fact is, this goes far beyond Colbert and Jimmy Kimmel trying to become political pundits and they're not funny and things like that. It goes beyond the fact that these people, the two of them, have pretty much, and Colbert maybe more at fault than Kimmel because more people were watching them. They ruined the actual genre of late night television. It used
Oh
to
yeah,
be funny. It
Hmm.
used to be a
Hmm.
little less political. And
right.
it was and right, this guy fancies himself a political pundit. Now I get it. You can get the big guys. You have somebody, maybe a major senator there, or somebody to yuck it up with that you side with. But bringing in people like Letitia James, who nobody outside of a few corners of New York care about, and bring her on a national show just to show how smart you are or how much of a political pundit you are. It's not funny. It's not appealing to anybody outside a few corners of New York. The genre's gone. Jenny?
No, I absolutely agree with you, and it's just not resonating. And at the end of the day, I mean, it's about economics, and when something is not resonating with an audience, they're losing the revenue. Boom, it's got to be cut out. So that's just economics. That's just how it's a ratings game. I mean, at the end of the day, it's an entertainment genre, and if it's not resonating with folks, and I agree with you that getting overly political has definitely got its downsides on that. And I mean, we saw that over the last several years where it's creeped into sports. Sports never used to be political, and then it's infected entertainment and so forth. But thank goodness for the moment, it seems like it's fading away for a bit. So hopefully that trend will continue as we go along. But yeah, I'm not a big fan of how they politicize these late night shows, and I long for the days of Johnny Carson and sort of the old school way of where they did late night, and it was funny and it was uplifting and it
Right.
made everyone laugh for real. Or even Saturday Night Live the way it used to be pre 1990s or so.
So to carry on your point, um, Carson would make fun of everybody, to include, he made a
Hmm.
big thing about Biden cheating, which was funny because everybody recognized Biden was cheating. This is back when he ran for the president first time. But the other thing too was the issue with Carson. Carson said, and I did an interview, I think, with 60 Minutes after he stepped down. It's like there was no good to come from attacking half of my audience. He recognized there was that's not going to help anybody, and it's not funny. So Carson himself said it's not a good idea, and he would even do jokes. I'm going to do this joke. I didn't do this joke. Carson did this joke. Because he used to do off-color jokes, which are funny. And so one day he came on, he was talking about doing some yard work. He says, "Man, oh man, I'm going to have to figure out what to do. My leaf blower went out." And everybody looks like, "Yeah, Juan, his lungs just gave out. I got to find a new leaf blower."
No.
Oh,
So, and that was Johnny Carson, and it was funny, and it may be true too. I don't know. I
Right.
never did yard work with Johnny. And then he used to do things against Italians too. And hey Vinny, I know Vinny's watching, so he'll like this.
Evan, yep.
He used to talk about going to. He said, "Oh, by the way, this is for Jenny. Jenny, do you know what happens if you go to New Jersey and and you're a woman and you go into an Italian restaurant and you ask for a table with a view? Do you know what they do?
what do they do?
They put you in front of the men's room and leave the door open."
Ah! Hey yo! There we go. See, that's how you do it. That's how you do a nighttime show.
And that's a Johnny Carson joke. Those are jokes that were funny. And if you ask for something filleted, that means with the bullets taken out. and then he said, "You know what a formal Italian dinner is? It's when all the men come to the table with their zippers up."
Actually, it's pretty true if you think about it. I'm Italian, so I
So
know.
there you go. Well, but the other thing, Italians are never offended, right? No, but I'm not going to get any complaints from our Italian because it's funny. It's funny stuff,
Right.
and we're making fun, right?
It's absolutely hilarious, and it's based in some truth, but it is really funny.
You said it. I didn't say that. So
Hey, I'm
anyway,
Italian, so
the point being, Carson was able to get a little bit edgy, but never go and attack people politically, but to make fun of it, but not attack them. And that's what Colbert, and all these other folks have lost the bubble, and they're not funny at all. Not remotely funny.
The way I also look at Kimmel and Colbert in another way, and Fallon to an extent as well, is that I don't think they have ever had a moment I don't remember them having a moment. Now, when I say a moment, I mean something memorable that happened on your show. Johnny Carson has
Yeah.
had several. Parr has
Oh
had
my God.
obviously
Tons.
Letterman has had several, and this sketches that stick out in your mind or something. Still,
Bud Melman. I miss Bud Melman on Letterman. That was great.
well, 50 years later, people are still talking about that incident between Don Rickles while filming CPO Sharky, while taping CPO Sharky next door.
Yeah.
The cigar thing with Johnny Carson. You don't see that anymore. A lot of funny moments with even Joan Rivers as a guest host. And
Yeah.
a lot of great things happen during these shows. Right now, you have your manufactured pop stars who sing throwaway hits, throwaway songs that won't get remembered 30, 40 years from now. This is what's going to happen with Colbert and Kimmel. Well, we're still going to.
I still think they should have had Miley Cyrus naked on the wrecking ball on stage. That would have brought their numbers up.
Yeah.
I would have tuned in for that. Just saying.
I don't know. She kind of grossed me out.
They didn't do it. So I don't know why.
What would bring you into watching it?
Which you? There's two U's here. Utes.
Jenny,
The Utes.
Oh, I said Jenny. You know what? You know what? You should actually have, since your name's Jenny, you can have Tony on there. You can pick on Stephen Colbert, make fun of him and everything. And when Colbert starts crying, you just say, "Run, Stephen, run."
There you go.
Right. Are you? That's a thing from Forrest Gump. Are you stupid or something? Yes, he is. Yes, he is.
Leftist is as leftist does.
Yes, that's right.
But
So,
what would get you guys back into watching these late night shows? I understand we work in the morning and it's tough, but
let me tell you something.
The genre's over. The genre's done.
So I'm on the road. Y'all can see it. No secret. I've got to be in New Jersey tomorrow for a class, so I'm going to drive to New Jersey. But my point is, I stayed at a Holiday Inn last night, and I feel like I can be a doctor today, right? You stay at a Holiday Inn, you can do whatever you want. So I'm a doctor today. But I went to the Jill Biden School of Dental Proctology, by the way. So I'm a doctor of dental proctology now, based on Dr. Jill Biden's school. She used to teach here in Northern Virginia, by the way, where I'm at. Anyway, I digress. My point being is that when I was watching TV, there's nothing on TV. Everything is manufactured, and every other commercial is for a drug of some sort. I was amazed. I get so tired of watching. It's like I put the Weather Channel on. I swear to God, every other commercial is some drug that's supposed to counter the bad effects of some other drug. And I'm not joking. Yeah. It's like, oh, if you've got loose jaw, it vibrates constantly because you're on mental health drugs, and they say this on the air. And here's another drug here you can take that'll get rid of that in about 6 months.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the side effects. I love when they list the potential side effects of the drug. They have to speed it up and everything else, and it's like, why would you take this unless you really, really have to?
Exactly. Well, anyway, but back on the topic, it's like there's nothing worth watching, and the commercials suck. I mean, even the commercials used to be kind of funny in the old days. Like, where's the beef? Who didn't like that commercial? Where's the beef?
No,
where's the beef?
Clara Peller was actually in a movie. Did you know what movie she was in? There was a movie called Moving Violations. This is where a bunch of funny people got together, but they had to go to driving school. So Bill Murray's brother was in it. You had Fred Willard, Wendy Jo Sperber. Well, if you remember Different Strokes, made was Adelaide. She was a little short woman with the.
Oh yeah.
Clara Peller played her sister in the very beginning. She had one line in the movie coming off the airplane. Her sister was picking up from the airport. Clara Peller had one line in Moving Violations. It was, "Where's the bags?" Great.
I'm loving all these 80s references, being a fellow Gen Xer.
Oh, I love the 80s. I miss the 80s. Hell, 80s were great. I tell kids all the time, man, it's like, you don't understand how great the 80s were. It's like, were we about to die in a thermonuclear exchange? Yeah, maybe, but we didn't. We didn't die, and everybody got along. I talked to my gay and lesbian friends from back then. Everybody loved everybody back then. It was great. So, just saying, I miss the 80s. And parachute pants. Who didn't like parachute pants?
I had my pairs. Yes.
I had multiple pairs.
They were cool. I also had the T-shirt and the jacket, like the Miami Vice. Because my friend Denozy and I would dress as Crockett.
Me too. I still got that stuff. It still fits. Still fits.
So what about you, Jenny?
Oh my goodness, dressing up like Madonna back in the day with all the
Yeah,
fingerless
that's
You're a
toes and the
wonderful.
Madonna
black
wannabe?
bracelets.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We got to
I
see pictures of
was.
this. This has to happen.
I don't know. I may have burned them. Oh my god.
So you weren't a Cyndi Lauper girl. You were more of a Madonna wannabe because there were two girls.
Absolutely.
There was somebody dressed as Cyndi Lauper. I mean, Cyndi Lauper has punk cred, by the way. She was
Yeah, I
she was
like
the lead
Cindy, but
singer of Blue
she's a
Angel.
bit of a lefty, but I like her. Yeah.
Yeah, she was the lead singer of Blue Angel. So yep, there we
I
go.
didn't know
Thanks,
that.
Elizabeth. Yep, where's the beef? Great commercial. How about
Yeah.
Wendy's had a lot of good commercials, but there were a lot. The Bud Light commercials were classics, weren't they?
Oh my God. Well, Miller Lite too.
Oh,
Let's, Bob
Miller Lite.
Euchre. Bob
My
Euchre.
fault. Miller Lite. That was
Bob Euchre.
Yep.
Man, oh
Hey,
man, I remember one of the commercials. He goes in there. He's got these. He goes into a Mexican restaurant and they're doing the whole thing about ordering off the menu. So Bob Euchre picks up the menu and he can't decide. It's like he forgot his glasses, so he can't figure out what to order off the menu. He says, "Oh, how about mariachis? Give me a dose of those babies."
Then there was the Rodney Dangerfields going in there. One of my favorites was Burt Jones and L.C. Greenwood, the two football. One was the quarterback, one was the defense, the lineman, or I guess he was a pass rusher, if you will. So what happened was L.C. Greenwood sent a message to talk about how he eats quarterbacks for breakfast and said, "All right, Burt Jones, sincerely, L.C. Greenwood," and crushes the can of Miller Lite. Then Burt Jones does the next part of that commercial and tries to crush the can, and just like using his two hands and everything. It was hilarious. And the softball game. Remember the softball game?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that was the one team was winning 15-0. It was less filling versus tastes great. One team was winning 15-0. It was the last one out left in the last inning. So Billy Martin changed the pitchers and brought Rodney Dangerfield in. All of a sudden, they lost. Billy Martin.
Oh my gosh.
Billy Martin and George Steinbrenner did commercials together.
Yeah, it was great. It was good. But that's the point. It's like the 80s and a little bit of the 90s were all, people funny, comedians were funny, commercials were funny and actually kind of, watchable. Not talking about how if you're constipated by taking psychotropic drugs, we can give you something that solves that and takes away the shakes as well. Just saying. It's like, okay, that's not really a good commercial.
Elizabeth,
Yeah.
Which Olivia Newton-John, by the way? Is it the before Sandy or the after Sandy?
I like the after Sandy myself. She was a bit more
Sandy. I'm sorry,
racy.
I'm a before Sandy guy. Technically, I'm more of a Frenchie or Jan. I like Frenchie and Jan. They were my favorite.
So, well, speaking of 5 Degrees of Kevin Bacon, John Travolta, and him dancing Saturday Night Live. We got to get Bob Hayes on. Bob has a whole story about his doing his dance in Airplane about that whole thing. He's got a great story. We need to bring him on. Bob Hayes. Robert Hayes.
We should get him and Cherie on the same time. We can have a lot of fun.
Oh my God! Yeah, I was just texting with Cherie. Cherie and I were just texting just now. So that's very cool.
That sounds pretty. Oh, by the way, here's a 6 degrees for you. Oh, by the way, yes, after Sandy. Okay, Elizabeth, thank you very much for that.
I agree.
Cool. Yep.
I agree.
All right. Well, I'll still go with the after. I still like my before, but again, I'm more, as I said,
She was hot in Xanadu. I mean,
yes,
she wasn't
Xanadu
in
was a great movie.
Xanadu. Yeah, some great music out of that too.
Let me give you a 6 degrees here.
All right.
Barry Pearl played one of the Thunderbirds, and I always forget which one he played, but he played one of the Thunderbirds. He also played Mignone on CPO Sharky.
Oh, I didn't know that. I didn't know that.
The Italian guy. He played Mignone on CPO Sharky. So
that's a strange link because I wouldn't have thought anybody from the Thunderbirds would have been linked to CPO Sharky. That's an interesting connection. He is. Because the Thunderbirds were filmed in Super Mario Nation, if I'm correct.
Which
right?
One or Grease 2?
I'm talking about Thunderbirds, the TV series. I'm not talking about the
T-Birds was the gang. So it was. I think he was.
I'm talking about the Super Mario Nation Thunderbirds. From the British using the puppets with all the.
Yes,
I thought it's like,
okay.
Yeah, I was wondering how did he come from being a puppet to a man? I don't think it works like that. But I guess I was. So I get the connection now. So I guess it's not that radical if it's the Thunderbirds, the group, not the Thunderbirds, the TV series.
And again,
So
not to be
just saying.
confused with the fabulous Thunderbirds.
Yeah. Well, they were okay. I thought they should have changed their name to the mediocre Thunderbirds, but that's just me.
Hey, Kim Wilson has a good voice. So we're throwing this stuff around, Jenny. You got to jump in on us. You got to hold us back here. What do you think? Fabulous Thunderbirds or mediocre Thunderbirds? And Tony, the guitarist.
I don't know. I'd say mediocre. They weren't my favorite. I was more into
Exactly.
the British 80s
Thank you, Jenny. I agree.
Yeah, right.
I agree.
All right.
I agree.
Let's get into some fun here. All right. How about another Sunny Hostin gem?
Oh boy.
We're running out. We have a couple minutes left, so let's do one more Sunny Hostin gem before we sign off. And she's yammering on about, I guess all these broads were like still mooring over Louise Mangione, whatever his name is, Luigi Mangione, the guy who killed
Luigi.
the guy who killed the health company CEO. It's like they phone over him like they phone over Barack Obama. So here's Sunny Hostin yammering on about the lawyer.
They're both mass murderers, but different.
The system is doing what it's supposed to do. Everyone is innocent until proven guilty. That is our system here, and I think that needs to be.
That's fair.
Unless you're a Democrat, then you're never guilty.
And I do know these defense attorneys. Actually, I know Karen Agnifilo extremely well. She is the best of the best, and she was a former prosecutor, and so I know for sure that
he even poses for the camera.
He is getting the best defense, and don't we want that? I think we do want people who allegedly murdered an adequate CEO, a young person with all the potential in the world, to have.
Wait! A young person with all the potential in the world. This guy is a flat out murderer, and he did it for his own stuff. If he's guilty, if he's the guy, he did it for his own self.
He's the guy,
right?
He's the guy.
I'm pretty sure he's the guy. But I'm in the innocent until proven guilty lane. But I still believe he's the guy. If he's the guy, then yeah, that's.
So why is Sunny Hostin is married to a guy who's been indicted for fraud? For God's sake, I mean, speaking of. The person that she should be talking about is Kathy. Uncle. Excuse me, it gets stuck in my throat every time I do that. Uncle, her husband stole from Hochul. I love saying that, by the way. Can we just have a half an hour of me saying Hochul?
I think we can do that. We'll have to post the pictures of Vampira and everything else like that.
Yeah. Anyway, my point being is that Sunny, is married to a surgeon, a dental proctologist like me, perhaps. I don't know. Oh. Anyway, who actually is now being sued for multi-millions of fraud from stealing from Kathy Hochul's Medicare system. Just saying. So I don't know what that all means, but it's Democrats screwing over Democrats. Yeah, that is what it is.
Wonderful. Well, on that note, it's time to sign off. It's already 1:00. The hour goes fast. Jenny, thank you for being with us.
Jenny, thanks. Good meeting you.
Thank you. Yes.
Come back.
Yeah, come back.
Absolutely.
And don't forget, join Tony on ColonelTonyShaffer.com for his deep dives. He has plenty of them, and they all feature the unfiltered truth. Check it out, ColonelTonyShaffer.com. It's become a member of the Sentinel Circle.
Yeah.
Check it out. And of course, subscribe to Tony on X at Spooky. There's a lot of stuff that he cannot really show in public that he can talk about as a to subscribers. There we go.
More coming too. So that was part of my job today, and I'll leave it to Chris, since he's the producer. When we release the video I did a video where I was at earlier. We're going to do it soon, and more is going to be coming through. Let us say cooperation with folks who are spooky folks, right, Chris? I guess I can say that. I just did.
The spooky folks. It's all spooky.
Spooky folks.
Yes.
Very spooky.
Yes, and it was like the classic song.
Not spooky like Kathy Hochul, Vampira spooky. That's just kind of like Count Floyd, Monster Horror Chiller Theater spooky, which really was never scary. Although Count Floyd is pretty scary. So.
Thanks, Jenny. Thanks, Tony. And thank you all for being here with us. Don't forget, like this, share it, subscribe to our channel, and subscribe to ColonelTonyShaffer.com. It'll help us out greatly. Spread the word, and we love you. Thank you.
Thank you so much.